Fast approach anxiety and fear of rejection cure. Before we get into the really juicy stuff of this module, laser targeting and the rest of it, I thought it'd be a good idea to give you a little quick start. We're not going to once and for all remove your approach anxiety and fear of rejection. And how are we going to do that? By a technique called the eraser technique. This will literally erase your old thoughts from your brain that made you linking more pain than gain from approaching and being rejected. And let me elaborate on that. Everything we do here in life, all the choices we make are based on two things: avoid pain or gain pleasure. You might have read or heard Sigmund Freud talk about this before. You either do something so that you will avoid pain or so that you will gain pleasure. Let's say, for example, that you were hungry and you grabbed a Snickers bar to eat. The reason that you did that was because your brain linked more pleasure from eating that Snickers bar than the pain you would get from not eating it. Another example, say that you see a really good-looking girl on the street. The only reason that you didn't approach her was because you linked more pain from approaching her and failing than the pleasure you would get from actually getting laid with that girl or just have a conversation with her. This is what we're going to change. We're going to tear your old thought patterns apart, and we're going to change how you think about approaching and rejection for good. So here's what I want you to do now. Number one, start by writing a list of why not approaching girls when you know you should is going to affect your life in the long haul. Don't hold back here. Really think through what this will do to your future. Do you think not approaching will hinder your success with women and with life in general? I think so too. Okay, here's a suggestion of a list. I will never achieve my goals. I will never get a really good-looking girlfriend. I will never have a family that loves me and that will love me back. I will be a complete failure in my life and my whole life would go to waste, etc. Like I said, don't hold back here. Just get it all out there. Think of how much it will really harm your life. So pause the video now and do this exercise, then play back when you're done with it. Okay, now what I want you to do after you've written this list is to read all of those bullets that you've written out loud and try to really feel the pain when you read them. Really feel how shitty you feel. Okay? You can also do like this. Imagine yourself 20 years from now looking at yourself in the mirror and having not approached girls when you should have. How would you feel about yourself? Would you be happy? Will you be living a good life? Could you honestly look at yourself in the mirror and be proud of your accomplishments? It is really crucial that you feel the pain for real. You need to visualize the complete failure and really be that failure for a couple of minutes. Okay, do that now. Take a few minutes, pause the video, and then come back. You done? Great. How do you feel? Hopefully, if you did this right, you feel like a shithead, like a complete wreck. The worse you can make you feel, the better. But don't worry, we're gonna change this all around now. Your next task is to write down all the pleasures and good things that you're going to gain by actually approaching when you feel you should. On top of the list, you'll write, by actually going out and approaching and stop being a fucking bitch, and here's some suggestions. I will have sex with 500 girls or more. I will have an abundance of 9s and 10s, which I will fuck whenever I feel like it. I will become a real man without fear. I will have lots of respect and admiration from my peers. I will see all my dreams come through, and etc. You know what to do. Alright? So pause the video and do this now. Okay, good. Now, after you've written all this, I want you to stand up. Yes, stand up in your room or wherever you are. Do it now before you watch anything more, okay? Are you standing? Good. Now I want you to put a big smile on your face. Just smile and tilt your head a little bit backwards at the same time. Now what I want you to do is put out your chest like you just got infinite powers and stand smiling with your head tilted backwards and your chest out, and try to feel as though you're invincible. Feel the feeling of, I can do anything. You know, just tell yourself over and over, I am a champion, I am invincible, or whatever rocks your boat. Okay? Do you feel it? Keep doing it. Just keep doing it. You feel it now? Good. By now, I hope you feel great. If you don't, keep feeding yourself with self-fulfilling propaganda until you do, and just pause the video, okay? What about now? That's more like it. Alright, what you're gonna do now is to read your most current list with all the benefits and pleasures that you will get from actually going out and approaching, and do this while you're in the good mood that you already are in. Read it out loud. Keep reading it a couple of times and read it louder for every time that you read it. Start screaming it if you can, and if you're not worried about embarrassing yourself. You know, it's fun to be embarrassed. Who cares? Now read it as loud as you can with me by actually going out and approaching, and stop being a fucking bitch. Okay? And one more time. Just do it a couple of times. You can pause the video, read this a couple of times, you know, by actually going out and approaching, and stop being a fucking bitch. And just go through your list. Just read it with utmost passion and everything. Pause the video and do it, alright? Great. You can sit down now. What I want you to do now is look at the first list with the bad things and start feeling the bad feelings you got from it. As soon as those feelings start creeping in, switch to the good list. Feel the good feelings that it will give you. And now back to the bad list, the good list, the bad, the good, etc. and on and on. Do this a couple of times until you have really started to feed your unconscious mind with this information. Matter of fact, we have already done this. Your subconscious mind is now starting to link much more pain from not following through on what you're supposed to do than the pain you get from actually doing it. But we're not done yet, no. Even though you've removed your approach anxiety, or at least brainwash yourself to take action, we're now going to do the same procedure with your fear of rejection. Again, create two lists, one containing all the bad things that will happen to you if you continue to have fear of rejection, and one list with all the pleasures you will get from not having fear of rejection. Okay, you pause the video now and just do this. Alright, so yeah, same thing here. Read the bullets and start to feel shitty. Imagine yourself 20 years from now looking at yourself in the mirror and feel even worse. Pause the video until you're done. Now, stand up, put a big smile on your face, tilt your head backwards and pull out your chest. Feed yourself with self-fulfilling propaganda, and you know the drill. Just pause the video and then come back. Are you done? Good. Let's continue. We're not done here yet. Now we're going to do another super effective exercise that will literally hit the nail in the coffin and free yourself from fear of rejection for good. Actually, there's two exercises. First of all, we're going to change the way you automatically feel about rejection. By doing this, you won't feel that being rejected causes so much more pain anymore, and you will automatically give less of a fuck whether you be rejected or not. You want to know a universal truth? Nearly all, if not every single one of the really successful people in this world have gone through an enormous amount of rejection in their lives. Did you know that Jerry Seinfeld, before he was famous, used to be booed off the stage? Or Sidney Poitier, multiple Oscars winner, was told, why don't you just stop wasting people's time and go out and become a dishwasher or something? Or Stephen King, who had his $1 million bestseller Carrie rejected over 30 times before he finally got picked up? Can you now see why rejection is nothing more than a proof of that you're actually on the right path? Can you see now that rejection is nothing else than some other human being who knows nothing about you or who you really are, making a judgment upon you, deciding who you are, and who cares what they say? They don't know you from speaking to you for a minute or two. And remember, every time you get rejected, it really comes down to one of two simple explanations. Number one, you were not your true self and you try to be something you're not. By trying and actually being rejected, you were given a favor. Now you know that acting is not going to take you anywhere and you can learn from it. Number two, you were yourself and you had honest intentions, but the girl you were speaking to just weren't interested for some reason. It doesn't have to be because of you. Maybe she had a boyfriend. Maybe she was nervous. Maybe she was acting like somebody else and she failed, not you. But who cares? Next is all you should say in that situation. Everyone is not going to like everyone. Every girl you talk to is not going to be interested in you. It doesn't matter whether you're Brad Pitt or Quasimodo. There's somebody out there for everyone. As long as you keep doing you and keep looking, sooner or later you're going to find somebody that begs to meet you. Somebody that's actually been dreaming of a guy like you. So now, let's get on with the exercise before we lose track. I want you now to write down a new definition of what being rejected means to you. If you can't come up with a good definition yourself, I'll write one for you, okay? Being rejected just means that the girl was crazy, so thank God she rejected me. Or, the more rejection I get, the closer I'll get to my perfect girl. Those are two. If you didn't like those, come up with something yourself. The meaning here is that it should give you a sense of relief, that you honestly don't care whether you get rejected or not. After you've written this down, read it out loud 10 times with more intensity each time you read it. Feel the words going through your body and into your subconscious mind. So yeah, pause the video and do this. You done? Good. Now, let's do our third and last exercise on rejection. This one is maybe the most powerful of them all. This is the eraser technique that I was talking about earlier. The reason for doing this technique is that it will erase the bad feelings and memories you've had of rejection in the past and make it into something fun. This will make it a lot easier for you to go out and talk to girls in the future. So much easier, it ain't even funny, okay? Let's begin. Write down 2 experiences where you felt that you failed with women in the past, okay? Now it's time to dig deep. Think about this for a second or a minute or two. Try to dig up 2 really painful experiences that you've had in the past where you felt like an absolute failure. Maybe it was when you had a girlfriend and all of a sudden you started treating her too much like a lady. Or maybe you had sex with a beautiful woman and you came too fast, whatever, and you never got a chance to fuck her again. It can be anything. And now think about it and write the experiences down in a couple of short sentences on a piece of paper. 1 to 2 paragraphs is enough. Okay, pause the video and do that now. Now when you're done, you're going to do the same thing, but this time write down 2 painful and different experiences where you felt rejected in the past. Maybe you tried to ask out your favorite girl in 8th grade and she rejected you. Maybe you were out at a club and asked a girl if she wanted a drink and she screamed at you and told you that you were a fat, ugly beast. Only you know what to write here, so do it now. Pause the video. Great. You have now written down a total of 4 painful experiences that you've had with girls in the past. And yes, this might have put you in a bad mood. This is perfectly normal and we'll take care of this in a second. What I want you to do now is take the first experience you wrote down and replay the whole scene just as it happened in your head. Do that now. Okay. Now what I want you to do is to play that little movie backwards in your head with twice the speed of the original movie. everything you do and everything that happens backwards from the end to the start. And when you do this, add some cool or funny background tracks. Add some masks on the girl or on yourself. Play around with it a little bit. You know, completely and utterly fuck up this movie and make it as funny as you can. Okay? Try it out now. Pause the video. Have you done it? Good. Now play it forward again. And same here, with twice the speed of the original happening or more. Keep the added sounds and funny faces. And after you played it, play back again. And then forward. And then back. Every time that you play the movie back and forth, turn up the speed and add more crazy stuff. Think of it like you're scratching that memory like a DJ scratching a vinyl record. Do this 10 times back and forth. Pause the video and do it. Are you done? What we have done now is scratched your movie/memory in such a way that you can never play it again. When you think of this later, all you'll think about is the funny soundtrack and the Mickey Mouse or whatever you added there. Now you're gonna do the same thing with the other 3 memories. Scratch them up badly, fuck them up, destroy them. Okay, pause the video, do that. Great. How do you feel now? Maybe you still feel bad or in a lousy, anxious mood. That's normal. It will pass. You might have some bad feelings for a day or two, but the more the time goes on, the more those feelings will pass away. And when you try to think of these memories 3 months from now or a year from now, the only thing you'll be able to remember is all the fun stuff that happened. Not too bad, right? Now there's just one more thing I want to ask you to do, and then we're done with these brainwashing exercises. I want you now to take out your piece of paper again and write down why these painful things that happened to you actually were good. Write down what you learned from them. Reframe the movies and make them positive, okay? For example, if you have been rejected by the love of your life in 8th grade, maybe write down, that was the best thing that could ever happen to me because after that I learned to not fall in love with girls I never talked to before. Or something like that, whatever. It's up to you. You're the master of this and you write down what you feel is best for you. Pause the video and do that. Done? Fantastic. I have now guided you through 3 or 4 extremely powerful techniques that whether you wanted to or not have changed your subconscious mind. You will not feel the same things as you did before. If you have followed the instructions correctly and you have really tried to put some emotional effort into this, these exercises will have changed your life. Maybe you don't feel it now, but for every day that goes by, your unconscious mind will now have linked different things to approaching women and being rejected by them than it had before. And if you can use that little power that has now been given to you, maybe from just saying hi to a stranger or talking a minute longer than you would have usually have done with a stranger or a girl that you know, all those things will eventually lead up to big things. Changing small habits every day means massive change in the long run. This was just a beginning, however. Just a little something to help you get started. The real change is going to come in the following videos. Okay, so stay tuned.